All right, can you guys hear me? If so, type a one in the chat, please. Very funny, Bradford. All right, awesome. Um, and looks like my video is not up. Let's see here. Oh yeah, no, I'm up. All right, sorry about that, guys. I went to go start this, and my computer was like, "Oh, you need to update all of your software and everything," which was wonderful. It was updated earlier. I don't know what happened. But anyways, we're all here right now. I'm excited to host this for you guys. We have some awesome agents that are going to be on today they're going to show you exactly what it's like to be a real estate agent, what it takes to succeed in this business. We've got Eric Ryla on here. We've got Alex Lozano, both making well over $100,000 a year. And let's get this going here. I'm going to share a slideshow with you guys. And Tony, it looks like there's people in the waiting room. If you can let them in here.
I got it.
All right, I think I need to cut this here. All right. So, very, very sorry, guys. There we go. All right, now we've got it going here. All right. Welcome to the presentation day in the life of a real estate agent. We're going to show you exactly what it takes to succeed in this business. Uh, I want this to be interactive, so please do throughout this presentation ask questions. We do have some people helping out with the technical pieces here, believe it or not. But I want this to be interactive. We want to answer all of your questions. We know you're going to have a lot of questions here. So let's get going. So first of all, I'm curious, what has you guys interested in real estate? Um, Tabby, do you want to unmute?
Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
This is going to be interactive, so I'm going to call you guys.
Uh-oh.
Yes, we can hear you, Tabby.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, so I just
Oh, you can hear Tabby, so it's me.
oh, so
Holy
Brad,
moly.
should I wait?
We told Tony to go home early. She lives in Janesville. Um, she usually helps me with this stuff.
We can hear
Oh, I
both.
think I found it. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Okay, we're good, Dan. You can
Sorry,
hear me
we're
now?
good. We're good. I can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
So sorry again.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I wasn't expecting to be called on, but yeah, so I'm a recently just switching careers. So I just thought real estate would, given my background as a paralegal for going on 6 years, I have a lot of kind of legal background, but also real estate seems a lot more interactive and a lot more out there with clients and stuff like that and interacting with people. I'm very outgoing, like to be outside in the field. So I just thought real estate would kind of be a good transition for me to get my face out there and also use what I've learned as well.
That's awesome. Okay, very good. Kevin, what has you interested in real estate? Kevin Chow.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, Dan. So I used to do real estate in New York. I did office and retail leasing and then did residential leasing like 15 years ago or something. So just coming to Madison, uh, I have a young kid and needing something less structured than a 9 to 5, um, and potentially leveraging some experience. I don't know how much of it would actually translate to residential sales in Madison, but I was recently shopping for a home, so I do have some experience in it now.
That's interesting. How was your experience with shopping for a home?
I felt like once I had an idea of what I was looking for, I knew everything as it became available. As I was discussing with my broker, I was like, "Oh yeah, this property over here. Yep, that one. No, that one doesn't do this." And so it was just interesting, um, learning the market and learning what made sense for me at the time. Obviously, other people don't have the exact needs that I did. Um, but I guess you figure out what people need and kind of adjust accordingly. So I
Absolutely.
don't know. It was kind of fun, kind of stressful.
Uh, well, hopefully, we show you what we do to help people have an experience that isn't as stressful. So, all right, can you guys see the slideshow here?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Very good. All right. Okay, so a little bit about me. I've been in the business for about 11 years. Got going in, well, I guess almost 12 years now. 2000 or in 2013, and we have a team of about 15 agents. The average income on our team is well over $100,000. We train people to be really good at their job, really good at being an agent. Um, we play to win. So when our agents go to write an offer, I'm sure a lot of you have heard about like, oh, it's so tough as an agent. I don't have clients. I keep losing on offers. We train people to write offers that win. Okay. Um, it says with just 10 agents, we're at about 15 now. So we've had first year agents sell more than 50 homes a year and net over $200,000 in their first year. And I'm going to show you exactly what it takes to do so because the average agent out there does not sell very many homes. A couple of people are going to be joining us here. We have Eric Ryla. He's an amazing guy and an excellent agent. His clients really see him as like their go-to person when it comes to anything real estate related. Today, the majority of his business is coming from repeat clients, referrals from his past clients. But when he joined us, he didn't really have much of that at all. Um, in 2024, he sold more than 24 million in homes, closed 57 deals, and he made over $300,000. He's in April. We also have Alex Lozano. This is the guy, if you know him, you love him. He, when you look up charisma in the dictionary, you see Alex Lozano. He was in car sales for a while and was just not fulfilled there and was sick of sitting in a showroom. And he joined the team. And almost instantly, he had tons of people signing with him just because they trusted him. So in his first full year, he signed 109 clients. Last year, he sold about 10 million in volume, over 30 homes, and made 129,000. And he's going to be celebrating his 4th anniversary in June. Okay, so like some of you mentioned, some of the reasons that people go into real estate, of course, is that income potential. If you're sitting in a job where you have a cap on what you make, and so no matter how hard you work, you're never going to make more than your salary. That can be defeating for the personality type that excels in real estate, right? Um, so there is no cap. Sky's the limit. Uh, we also had the mention of the freedom of the schedule. If you have kids and maybe you're a single parent, for some reason the school schedule stuff like in the middle of the workday. I don't know why, but you have the ability to move things around. It doesn't mean like you're just free all the time, but you're able to create your own schedule. You're not dependent on others to set that. And then just that love of making a difference in the lives of other people. All right, so income potential, we're going to try this out. In the chat, I'd like you to type in what you think the average pay of a first-year solo agent is. Let's see. I'm going to try and find my chat window. I'm really struggling here, Tony. We have like icy rain right now, though.
I can read them off too if you want.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect, if you wouldn't mind.
Bradford guessed
Oh, there we
12,000.
are.
Jeremy 26,500. Kevin 20,000. Jackson 30,000. Tabby 30,000. Sanjeev 50. I'm guessing 50,000 plus. We have 30,000, 75K. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 20K.
Okay. Good guesses, good guesses. And oh, $15,000. So that was as of May 26, 2021. I read a stat recently that the average agent last year sold on average, I think it was like 1.5 homes, something like that. I think we actually might have that in this presentation, but $15,000 is the average first year agent's income. For me personally, I made 0 in my first year. Well, it was like half a year because I got going in June. And my second year, I made around $24,000. It took me 6 months to really figure this out because I didn't have a team. I wasn't on a team. I was all alone. And after 6 months, I figured out what it really takes to be successful in this industry. Looking at some of our agents here, this first slide here, this is Eric's numbers for 2024. So you can see this is oops, sorry about that. This is a software we use that tracks all of our agents' business. And you can see, you know, he had 80 buyer appointments set and 58 listing appointments set. Now, not every appointment you meet with is going to sign or get to closing. But of that, 33 buyers closed on homes, 24 sellers closed on homes. A lot of them were selling and buying at the same time. And that came to 313,000 in income for Eric here. Next, we have Wade's numbers. He was the first agent to join the team back in, I believe it was 2015 or 2014, Tony?
I
Does that
think
sound right?
2016,
2016, okay.
maybe 2015.
So last year, Wade signed 28 buyers, 38 sellers, and of those, 17 buyers closed, 24 listings closed. That doesn't mean that they didn't sell their house. That means that maybe their timeline's longer, right? So we sign a lot of people on as clients years before they actually go on the market. But he did make 184,000 last year. And finally, we have Alex, who's joining us tonight, with 25 buyer sales and 5 seller closings. He was just getting into listings last year. And with those numbers, he made $129,000. This guy signs pretty much everyone he meets. So you can see he signed over 100 people last year. So his pipeline is very full. So if anyone on here speaks Spanish or knows anyone that speaks Spanish, he has a lot of clients that only speak Spanish, and we would love to talk to you. All right, so moving on, you know, freedom and flexibility, right? So you don't, a lot of people, when they think about real estate, it's like you have no personal time, right? And that's really up to you and the limits you set. Really, you want to balance not only your time, but also your, like how you're spending it. So we always tell agents when they first sign on, you have 2 businesses. You have your business of building your business and your pipeline, and your business of serving your clients, right? So you want to set that time aside. You know, why don't we bring on Eric on here? Eric and Tony, tell me, do I need to stop sharing my screen? Probably.
Nope, you're good.
Oh, Nope. Okay. Well, I already did.
You can do that too.
Yeah. Eric, can you share like how being on a team has helped you balance your work and personal life?
Yeah, I mean, I've only been on this team, right? But I know that when I came onto the team, I knew nothing. I had done a few deals, but I really didn't know like how to properly do things. I didn't know any best practices. Um, I can share. So like last year, obviously, I had a really good year. Um, and late in the year, I had a conversation with Dan and Meg about how I was feeling, and I was burned out because I had done a lot of deals. But the one cool thing that we kind of came away with in that conversation is that um, I needed help, and the help was always there. It was just hard to let go of the reins. So, like one good example is we have showing assistants on our team, which is really nice because when you're working with buyers, you do spend a lot of time. Like on average, before I started working with showing assistants, I was driving about 100 miles a day. That's a lot. I mean, you do the math on that, you're driving like 36,000 miles a year. And so um, lately, like the last 3, 4 months, since we had that conversation, I have really embraced that model of having a showing assistant do my showings, and then I can focus on negotiating for buyers, filling my pipeline with new buyers, and then also having that work-life balance. I do think that in the past when I was doing well, but I didn't feel burned out, I think establishing boundaries with people is important. And if people trust you and you have good relationships with people, they will respect that. But as far as focusing on the team model, I do know that, on this team, we certainly have, if you're feeling burned out or you're just burning the candle at both ends for whatever reason, work-wise, and you're not having that balance, there are just resources here to be able to help you with that. So I would say
Well,
that
what
was
are some of those resources, Eric?
yeah, so obviously the showing assistant stuff matters. That saves you the 100 miles a day in the car, give or take, which is, you do the math on that again, you're talking about over an hour and a half in the car each day. But in addition to that, so like let's say you get somebody under contract, right? You get an accepted offer. We also have people who help handle the paperwork portion of things, which that is like not my forte. I actually really like going out with people and looking at homes and having face-to-face time with people. But it's just really time consuming. What I don't particularly like is clerical work. I'm not big on paperwork. And when you have a lot of deals, a lot of irons in the fire, so to speak, you have other people who are helping you to keep track of your dates and deadlines, keep track of your paperwork, and just make sure that you have all your ducks in a row and you're not dropping a ball for clients. Those would be the main things. Also, we do have so one of the resources that we have on our team is Matthew, and I don't think Matthew is on this meeting, but Matthew's job is to essentially aggressively pursue leads that come into our system. And one of the benefits of that is Matthew doesn't really, he's not, I mean, he is an agent, but his primary work is setting appointments for other agents. So, you can be working on your own pipeline, you can be calling potential clients, but then you also have a resource in Matthew that he sets appointments for you. And then obviously, if you meet with them and convert them, that equals money in your pocket at the end of the day. And it also equals establishing a relationship that if you nurture down the line, you're going to get them to come back to you. They're going to refer their friends and family if you do a good job and they trust you and you have that good relationship. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of resources for sure. Um, yeah,
So,
obviously, it's
so
been a good experience.
yeah, so to summarize it, it's all about leverage, right? So as an individual agent, you're doing everything. You're setting appointments for yourself, so you're doing all the prospecting. You're managing all of your client deadlines. You're managing all the finances. I mean, this is a business. You're running a business, so you have to do all of that stuff on top of trying to help people buy and sell homes. So it's a lot. So the whole idea of a team is that you're leveraging others who maybe are even better than you in certain areas, right? So like personally, Like, I really appreciate having the support of our client care team. They're like concierges to our clients. So that when I'm stressed about a deadline or something I'm handling, they come across as warm and supportive versus someone who's stressed out about what's going on, right? So you leverage other people in order to do more. So if you're an agent, typically you're good at sales, you're good at meeting with people, you're good at signing contracts and negotiating contracts. Since other people are handling that other stuff, you're able to go out and do the things you do well. And that's how you sell more homes and make more money. Um, and I know Eric, like you love our client care team and the support they provide. You talked about Matthew, he's fantastic. Um,
The other thing that I would add too is just the overall training. Like I said, when I got on the team, I had some experience. I think I had maybe done like a handful of deals. So I had some experience, but just having the systems in place, like when you get a listing, right? Um, how to market it, uh, pictures to take, staging. You know, we have a system in place here that um, we're just trained really well, right? Like, because you don't know what you don't know typically in life. And so, like, just showing up and walking through the door, I mean, and we've talked about this openly before, like, it was really hard for me to buy into a lot of this stuff. But then once I bought in, that's when the financial freedom started to happen. That's when the success started to happen. And, you know, like you said, been on the team 7 years, so it's obviously been a really good experience.
Thanks for sharing that. Um, all right, so let's go in here. So love of helping people. These are our values on the team, and hustle is a big one. I've talked to some different um, team leaders, and the consensus really is like if you've worked in food service before, front of the house, back of the house, like you're probably going to be successful as a real estate agent. Someone that can really hustle, um, and do what it takes to get the job done, right? Accountability, uh, when you tell a client, I don't know the answer to that, but I'll follow up on that. You need to follow up. If I'm going to be calling you at this time, you're going to call them back. And this job is different every day. Every experience you have is going to be different. So you need to be adaptable and have that mindset where everything's going to work out. Um, Self-growth, gratitude, super important. We actually start all of our team meetings by either sharing something that we've learned in the past week or something we're grateful for. All right. So we actually have a video here. Oh, this should be interesting, Tony. Oop. See if I can get this to go. I don't think it's doing the audio. I got to do that. All right, I'm going to try it here.
We tried to sell the house several times. Pretty much all the other realtors just came home, put a sign right out there in the yard, and that was it. I was very surprised that it sold in 3 days.
We can hear it, Dan, but it's not lining up with the video that's playing.
Oh, what?
It's not lining up with the video that's playing.
Oh, got it.
I can
Um,
also share the link in the chat too.
Okay. I'm going to keep playing it.
And was always constantly on the phone with me, telling me what was going to be the next step,
That's
what we were
working.
going to do. We got multiple offers. I love being in this new house. That fireplace really told me, it was like, I love it. So much character.
The dogs love walking around. I am now a lot closer to my parents and closer to my sister, and I'm able to see them a lot more.
Finally, we achieved our goal. That was something we wanted to do for so long, and it happened so fast. Dan team they make me trust realtors again. Honestly, I didn't believe anymore in realtors, and it was a totally different experience. I'm so grateful, and I'm so happy I picked up the phone that day.
Okay, so that was Millie. Millie actually had her house listed with several different people before she hired us, and it didn't sell. And it was all about um, not or the agents that she was meeting with weren't helping her even figure out what the home would sell for. Uh, so obviously, if you don't know what your home's going to sell for, you don't know what you're going to net from it, you can't buy another home, right? And that's all it was. So this is a great example of what Eric was talking about the expert training and knowing what to help a seller with, how to help them figure out what they need to do in order to sell their home. Going from there, let's go back to the share here. So this is Allie and Andrew.
We started looking at houses in here. We kind of found we could use some more space. We could definitely use a lot more storage with the kid. Hudson is our son. He is 18 months old today. And I think he loves having the open space.
Like he has more terrain to explore. It's super close to the school district. We've got parks surrounding us on every side. Actually reached out to a couple of different agents, and Dan's team really gave us like a full scope of everything that they would be supporting us with. And their first step was like, well, we'll come visit your home and we will talk to you about like what our team can offer. And the next minute he was like on our front doorstep during a time that had worked for us really nicely. Felt like we were talking to a family member.
As soon as we gave him the go ahead and said, let's start showing our house, he had everything lined up through an app. We had, I think, 20 walkthroughs the first weekend there, and we had 4 offers in within the week.
Once offers came in, he like laid out all of the offers and showed us like how to compare and contrast each one, like what were benefits to us, what would be something cautionary to look for.
Overall, we got quite a bit more than we bought it for. The other thing we really liked about Dan and his team too is every time they sent us a document to sign, they sent a personalized video with it. They scrolled through a screenshot, talked us through everything.
So we always kind of knew like what to expect next.
They were just on top of everything. And at the end of the day, you know, they treated us as family. Dan still would say, you know, I love that we'll get to see you guys and see your family grow. So it's not, you hire a realtor, you buy a house, and then you're done with that. So it felt like he cared, and we feel like, you know, we gained more people in our circle.
All right. So when it comes to being a real estate agent, a lot of people see like HGTV. They think they know what it's like to be an agent, what day to day is like. We're going to actually dive into that here. So roles of a realtor. So as a realtor, you're not only, like I said, you're not only working with clients, but you got to find those clients first. You got to prospect, you got to find them, you got to show them homes, negotiate the offers, schedule the inspections, the title work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Now, I'm going to share my screen here again. And
We started looking at houses.
so realistically, look at all this stuff you would have to do. It's almost impossible. And that's why most agents burn out in their first year. They don't make it past that first year because it's just so much for one person to do. That's a team advantage. It allows agents to concentrate on showing homes. You have a support team handling other tasks. And I know when I first hired my first client care coordinator, my production tripled just from that. Here's some of the things that a team can help you do. All right, so day in the life of a real estate agent. On the left-hand side, we have what a solo agent schedule looks like. And on the right-hand side, we have a team agent. So 8 to 10, you're cold calling. If you're individual, these are people that don't know who you are. You call them, they're like, wait, who's calling me? Right? It catches them off guard. Then you're managing paperwork and contracts. And this is someone who's very regimented, right? Lunch, yeah, right. You're working through your lunch. Early afternoons, showing homes, going on presentations, meeting with buyers. 3 to 5 more administrative work, then 5 to 7, you're doing evening showings. If your client happens to like one of the homes, you're writing offers from 7 to 9, and you go to bed and you wake up and do it all again. On the right, we have the team approach. So you're still doing lead generation, right? So even though people are setting appointments for you, you're still going to be working on following up with those people, checking in with them, finding new clients, reaching out to your past clients and seeing who they know that wants to buy or sell a home. 10 a.m. to noon, you're meeting with clients, going on appointments again in the afternoon, and is a spot where some flexibility comes in. And again, you're making your own schedule, so you're able to keep it pretty flexible. But you're still, working pretty hard here, right? So it's not taking everything off. But the thing is like as an individual, maybe you could sell 25 homes on a team, 75 to 100 if you're fully like grinding it. It's definitely doable. So here's some example calendars that Tony threw in of people on our team. And we block our calendars because people are setting appointments for us. So everything's on there so you can see what's going on. So you can see people have stuff blocked in the morning. It's like getting that thing that is the toughest to do out of the way right away. That way everything else falls into place. All right, so realities of being an agent. So yeah, 87% of real estate agents fail within the first 3 years. Alex, would you mind, I gotta stop sharing here. Alex, can you tell us a little bit about that and what your experience was when you first got started?
All right. Can you hear me there?
Yes, we can hear you, Alex.
All right, excellent. Um, well, at the beginning was a lot of learning. Certainly was coming from car sales. It was a lot different. But definitely was a transition between getting to know what real estate was all about in terms of the learning and also I was actively in order to continue getting busy, calling a lot of my I will say people that I knew that I worked before and letting them know that I transitioned with my with a new career. But I will say it was a lot of learning from not only from Dan but also from other colleagues in the team that were willing to teach me and and show me how the best practices were. So I would say this is one of the careers that you can, if you put the time and if you put the effort into it, it definitely will show later on in life, because
But Alex, when you
the
weren't on a
sky's the
team,
limit.
when you weren't on a team, how was that going for you?
Um,
Like, what were your
yeah,
biggest challenges?
yeah, definitely was not knowing where to even start. Like um, it was like, hey, it's a new career, so like where do I start? Like, and you clearly show me like everything. Like if you spend your time doing this and taking the time to learn the best practices, you will succeed in this business. So I mean, being in a team, it was crucial for my success, because I follow that. I follow those best practices um, that being in a team was part of it. Was part of that, and also the help from the um, the like Eric was mentioning, the client care. I'm like Eric. I'm not really good with the administrative part of this career, so having that was definitely very helpful, because that definitely helped with the deadlines after you get an accepted offer and all that. I didn't know much about that, and definitely helped a ton too.
Right. Now, Eric, would you mind sharing what your experience was like as an individual agent?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of trial and error. Um, I was again, I think the biggest thing was not having the resources. Like one of the things that we touched on earlier was warm leads versus cold leads. And I don't know how many people know what that means, but basically a warm lead is somebody who is familiar with you or your company. Um, so we've got a really great system of gathering leads on our team. And so when we call them and say, "Hi, this is Eric from Dan Shin Homes. How are you?" They immediately they were either on our website, on our Facebook page, something like that. So there's at least there's a shred of rapport there that's already established. When I was not on the team, I mean, it was pretty much just, trying to look up expired listings on the MLS, try to track down
What
phone
is an
numbers.
expired listing?
Yeah, so an expired listing is somebody who listed their home and it didn't sell during the term of the listing agreement with that particular agent. So let's say I sign a listing. So somebody wants to sell their home. I meet with them and they decide, yeah, we want to work with Eric. And I put their home on the market. And let's say the listing agreement is 6 months long and the home doesn't sell in those 6 months. Basically, once that listing agreement expires, it goes into a section on the MLS called expired listings. So that's what I was doing a lot of. I was calling these expired listings, but the biggest thing was just getting a hold of them. And then getting a hold of them, with basically no experience at all, trying to get them to work with me is difficult, right?
Well, and
Because
they probably were happy to hear from you, right? They just hired an agent, it didn't sell, and now you're calling them.
yeah, I mean, I think the hardest part was just getting a hold of people,
But
because
when
it
you got
just
them on the phone, were they happy to hear from you? Oh, I'm a real estate agent. I can help
hit
you
or
sell your
miss.
home.
Pretty hit or miss, I would say.
Yeah,
Your batting average isn't usually very high with
yeah.
that. If it's a cold lead is somebody who has no idea who you are. They're not expecting your call. You weren't on their Facebook page. You weren't on their website. So yeah, I mean, obviously, when you're calling somebody and somebody's familiar with your company, um, it's easier to start that conversation and for them to take your call. But that was difficult. I mean, and then plus, just not really knowing what to do. I mean, I was fortunate to have people who trusted me, but I think that was more relationship building than anything else um, at that point. But then once I got on the team, it was just learning how to do things the right way. It's just so important. I mean, in a world where I always tell people, you could throw a bouncy ball down the street and hit 5 realtors, right? um, there are so many licensed realtors out there, but very few actually know what they're doing. And so I feel like that was the big thing joining the team was, hey, you've got some experience, but you don't really know what you're doing. And so getting that training was just so important. Oh, all the other stuff is important too. The client care we touched on, but really getting the opportunity to use the relationship building stuff that I already liked, but then also pairing that up with proper training to help boost the conversion rate, which I don't know if we're going to cover that, but helping me basically have a better chance to get business through training that we got here. And then just having the training to know how to do things the correct way when you're working with buyers and sellers, because there are correct ways to do things when you're working with buyers, and there are correct ways of doing things when you're working with sellers.
But
And
don't they
the only
teach you
way
that when you go to get your license? Like, isn't that in the
no,
classes? No?
no.
What do they teach you?
No, I mean, they basically, and again, I know some of you are licensed, so you've gone through it, but mostly it's the contract stuff, the portion of it, which is obviously important. There's a lot on liability, which is important as well. But in terms of uh, sales, there's nothing. In terms of, again, best practices, and it without getting more long-winded than I already am, it's hard to explain. But a good example is like when you go out on a showing with a client, right? Like you should schedule multiple showings at once. You shouldn't just go out to one home. When you get done with a showing, you should get detailed feedback
Why is that? Why
on
shouldn't
each
you just
home,
show one home at a time?
because then the buyer's just gonna, well, typically a buyer is going to compare that home to the home that they're already living in. And you don't really want them to do that because they want to move for a reason, right? And so you want to have them comparing the homes that they're seeing to each other, not the home that they already live in to the home, the single home that you would show them. So just simple stuff. And I know again, I say it's simple, but I didn't think of it before I got on the team. Before I was trained, I just thought, oh yeah, you go over to a house, you walk through it, and hopefully they like it, and maybe they make an offer, and maybe it gets accepted. But there's a lot of detail and a lot of nuance that goes into it, that is just going to make you more efficient, with your time and with the time of your client, and also that obviously that leads to more deals and more money and just a happier life in general. So yeah,
And ideally, people have great experiences like your clients have had, and then they start sending their friends and family to you as well, right?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So if you've ever heard the 80/20 rule, where like 80% of something is done by 20% of something, in real estate, it's worse. It's 93% of the income is generated by 7% of the agents. Everybody, like Eric said, you could throw a ball down the street and hit 7 realtors. Um, but that doesn't mean they're selling homes. I heard today about an agent that's been in the business for 13 years and hasn't done a deal since September. They haven't helped anyone buy or sell a home, and they're freaking out about their bills. So you definitely want to have that pipeline built up. You want to have that support system around you. Always be prospecting to find your next client and know who your next 3 accepted offers are. But focused on what's most important to the client. That's first and foremost. All right. So how do you build a predictable business? Like I said before, you need to be blocking that time to build your business. So that means calling, maybe it's calling cold leads, maybe it's calling warm leads, maybe it's reaching out to the people you know and trust. So your friends, your family members, your former coworkers, and ask them who do they know that's planning to make a move that you could help. That's huge. You can get a lot of business from that. Um, some of the brokerages out there, like we're part of Real Broker, they offer revenue share. So when you bring on other agents into Real Broker, a percentage of the commission that goes to the brokerage goes back to you. They also have stock options. They're publicly traded. So that's real passive income that actually can be better than owning rental properties. All right, so we're gonna do a poll here, get a little interactive. How many homes does the average agent sell per year? Let's see what we got here. Please type it in the chat. Bradford says 8, Tabby 15, 5, 2, 10, 2, 3, 10, Emmy with 5, 3.14. That's good, Jason. We just had Pi Day. All right, 12 homes. That's according to the National Association of Realtors. I know last year it was a lot less than that. So in 2024, This is an example of what you can do when you have a strong support team around you, where you're leveraging people who are better at certain activities than you in certain areas of the role. You can see Eric had the 57 closings, Wade had 41, Alex Suzanne had 30, Heath had 27. So 8% of our team had more than 16 closings in 2024. So on our team, like I said, we call them client care coordinators, but the industry calls them transaction coordinators. We'd like to call them client care coordinators because it's not just a transaction. They're people and they have missions. So the first thing we do actually is when we meet with a new client, we talk to them about what's important to them, not only in the home that they're buying, but in their experience, what that will change in their lives, what that'll do for them, how they'll ultimately feel when they're in that new home. We really dig deep on their pain and figure out like, because honestly, if you've moved, it's horrible, right? Can I get, a one in the chat if you've moved and it was horrible? Hopefully it's all ones, right? Because like it is the worst. Even when you hire a moving team, you still have to unpack everything. So you want to know that the reason you're moving is going to improve your life, right? That's the client. But as an agent, you need to know like what that's going to do for them because that's really what's driving them. And you want to make sure you're serving them with what's most important to them. As well, on top of that, like on this team, we have people like Tony who's helping us with this. She has a background in digital marketing. So online, you can find people who are searching for homes when they don't even realize it, just by their online behavior, their demographics, etc. So you have people actually targeting them and retargeting them with ads and bringing them into that funnel of new clients. The mentorship and training we talked about, accountability and technology, the systems that a real estate team has. I know ours are very expensive, and we have 2 CRM systems on this team. A lot of individual agents don't even have a CRM system. That's the database software that manages all of your clients and all the things that you need to be doing. That's very expensive, but it makes the process better for the client and more efficient for the agent. So we invest in that. All right, so just as a reminder, 87% of agents fail. What's the difference? Support and strategy.
You have to share your screen again, Dan.
Oh, I'm not sharing it right now? Unbelievable. I'm glad you made it home safe.
Thank you, me too.
All right. Can you see it now? You good?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay. So why don't we talk a little bit about some of these success stories that our agents have had. Eric, can you share a specific instance of success, like any adjustments you made that led to an improved result as a result of being on a team?
Ooh. Like as far as like a sale?
Like adjustments that you made in what you were doing. So think about our coaching meetings.
Yeah.
Where we're examining your percentages for conversion. I can think of one for you.
Yes. So, probably unmute myself. I think, well, the biggest thing that I can think of right off the top of my head is just the opportunity to learn the the things to say when you're talking to somebody that help you get the desired response. Again, you can call them scripts, but they're really, it's like just putting different, just the way that you word things to help you out in those situations. Again, you're not going to bat 1,000 when you're trying to convert a lead into an appointment, but those things drastically they can change your results in a positive way. we've done book clubs. My favorite book is Exactly What to Say. I think that book is like a total, it's so good. I mean, anytime you're any real conversation that you're going to have, really. I mean, if it's a sales conversation, if it's a difficult conversation to have with a client, you can pluck things right out of a book like that. But again, those are things that I don't know that I would have stumbled upon if I wouldn't have been on a team. I don't know that I would have had those opportunities to learn that. Could you go out and Google sales books and do all that stuff? Yeah, you could, but I don't know that I would have found a fit like that had I not been on this team. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And do you remember back to when I shadowed you on a listing consult? Remember that? And
No.
and so it's
Oh,
really
yes.
interesting. Like if you've ever like
Yes.
recorded
Are you,
yourself
is
talking,
this
or
the
like I know in school, like if you ever took a speech class, have you record yourself talking? You learn so much from watching that. So
yeah.
having someone actually watching you do things can really open you up to what you're missing out on. And I remember I shadowed Eric on a listing consult, and we came back and talked through some of the things that could help him, and he went and implemented, and it takes you, right? You're the one that has to implement because you're on your own, but you did. And you went from struggling to convert appointments into clients into being our top producer and having the WWE belt.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, it's the little things, right? Like I think that translates to everything. I always go back to sports as like a metaphor. Sometimes as you go through and you have success, without really knowing it or without it being intentional, you can develop bad habits, right? And then all of a sudden you start noticing, hey, why am I not having the success that I once had? Like what's going on? And then when you're able to bring somebody in like Dan or any other agent on our team to just objectively look at what you're doing, sometimes the answer is right there in front of you, but you don't see it because you're looking at the world through your own eyes. And when somebody else is watching or shadowing or listening, you're able to just have that resource. And that could be you or it could be anybody else on our team. I mean, we have a lot of people on our team of a lot of different backgrounds and who have done a lot of transactions. So we're always just being very collaborative with our approach and learning from each other. But yeah, I mean, really, I mean, again, and it's stuff that's like really simple. Like, I remember a few years ago, one of the things that I wasn't consistent enough about was when I would go out on a listing appointment, I would not ask the question, so if everything that we talk about today sounds good, are you prepared to hire me today? Now
Right at the beginning, right?
that sounds like a really bold question to ask somebody, right? But it usually you get an honest answer from them. It's either, oh, I'm actually interviewing other people, or yes, I will if everything sounds good. So just not asking that question, a lot of times I was walking out of listing appointments like, man, I wonder why it didn't work out. Well, if I would have just asked that question right from the jump, it probably could have changed my result, or it could have just painted a more accurate picture of the situation. So that was one simple thing that I wasn't doing that I should have been doing, and I was able to correct course, and it worked out a lot better for me.
Yeah, those best practices are key, right? There was one I recently forgot about at the end of my appointment. A best practice at the end of your appointment, if they don't sign, um, say they give you an objection. So mine was they wanted to just talk things over. To say, other than wanting to talk things over, is there any other reason you wouldn't hire me as your agent today, right? And I forgot to do that, and it's just kind of fallen apart since then. Because likely it's no, right? And then they're thinking, oh, yeah, well, we should just hire him, right? So, yeah, all those best practices are key, that's for sure. Alex, can you think of a specific instance in your career on the team where you got some feedback on something and were able to implement a change in how you did things that resulted in big success for you and your clients?
Uh, yeah. Um, uh, I was really bad for time blocking, and once that during our one-on-ones clearly. Um, I find out that was part of why I um, wasn't getting as much results as I wanted. I think that changed big time. Um, the uh, uh, not only career wise, but also with my family as well. Because I think at the beginning I wasn't focusing, I would say, as much as I wasn't putting the balance. I would say that that's the right word, putting the balance. So after that, blocking time in my calendar. After I started doing that, that was crucial in my career at the beginning, and after that, things clearly changed after that.
So time blocking, that's something that we teach on the team, is how to schedule your day for success. And for Alex, it wasn't a matter of like spending enough time like working on client stuff. It was like your family was missing out, right?
Yep.
And so what were some of the changes that you implemented as a result of our meetings, talking through that? And because like your family, I mean, if you know this guy, his family is everything to him. It's number one. Everything he does is for his family. And he felt like they were suffering as a result of being a real estate agent. It was taking away from his time. So what were some of those changes you made with that time blocking?
Yeah, definitely thinking ahead of time. Like I got my wife in the same page as well, because ultimately, if you have a spouse or significant other, having that, even like little things like adding your significant other to your calendar, just so you can manage timing, especially when there are events that are important in your life and you want to be there. You want your significant other to also include those time blocking into your calendar, so
Well,
you
especially
don't
if like
forget.
other people are setting appointments for you, right?
Yep,
You have
exactly.
that
Yeah. So
protected.
and it is protected. Is you know that especially as as Eric was mentioned, we have we have Matthew, who is setting up appointments also for us, and and before you know it, there's boom, an appointment where you shouldn't have had an appointment because that time was important to be there with your family. So that was my biggest struggle when I started, and so after that, things have been way better, and and having a spouse also that helps me to keep on track of any important event in our family. Even this month, but month as way ahead, month ahead to keep that, because there are
Yeah.
people that want to meet maybe like in a month or 2 months, and before you know it, you have an appointment that day, and that's a day that you didn't want to, you want to block for your family.
Yeah, it certainly helps having that business coach that's looking from the outside in, that can help give you that guidance on some little changes you can make that can really improve your business and your personal life.
Hey, Dan, can I
Yeah.
jump in again real quick?
Oh yeah.
So I want to build on, so the thing that I said earlier about the showing assistant, right? How I said I felt burnt out. I was away from my family too much. It was just a lot. Alex, kind of the same thing with missing out on family time because the calendar wasn't maybe as organized as it should have been. These 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 opportunities are not new. Like, I remember like 3 or 4 years ago, you were telling me to work with a showing assistant, and it was really hard for me to like let go of that control aspect of it. Same thing with calendars. Like the first thing that we discuss, one of the first things that we discuss on our team is blocking the calendar. And sometimes we don't do it because we're new, or we want the opportunity to have more business, and then over time you learn how much you actually want, how much time you actually want to give to your business versus to your family. So things like calendar organization, showing assistance, things to save time and to really balance that work life balance, those are opportunities that are basically given to us as soon as we walk through the door. and sometimes it just takes us, as agents, it takes us longer to embrace some of those aspects. So I just want to be clear about that. These opportunities for improvement, they exist the moment you walk through the door. It's not, oh, I was burned out for 4 years and then all of a sudden I was told to use a showing assistant. Or, oh, I was working there for 3 years and I decided to start organizing my calendar. These are all things that we're trained to do from the start. It just takes a little bit longer for some of us to get on board with whatever it is. So I just wanted to add that.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for adding that. For those of you that don't know what a showing assistant is, these are people who have their real estate license that are showing homes for your clients. So now you're not spending that time setting up the showings, going out, doing the showings, providing the feedback to the seller's agent, all the things that go along with setting up a showing. They're taking that off your plate. That way you can focus on negotiating contracts, writing contracts, and building more business. Heath the other day said, my weekend was amazing. I was at my daughter's dance recital, and I checked my phone, and I had Amy doing a showing for me. I had Emmy doing a showing for me. So he had clients out there actively buying, producing income for him while he was sitting at his daughter's dance recital, which is pretty awesome. So that leverage is certainly key. All right, so I'm going to attempt to share here again. Thank you guys for sharing that stuff with us. So education, accountability, collaboration, these are the things that it takes to succeed. It's very difficult as an individual agent to do all of this stuff and be great at it and give good service, right? We heard a lot about mentorship, the hands-on training and the proven systems. You can see here, this is in the middle there, that's our bullpen there. That's where the team is in, calling their clients, working on new leads, etc. You see Eric in the top left, Eric, our top producer, sharing his knowledge and expertise with other people. That's a key element of our culture, is that ability to share, to grow, to train others, improve yourself. Middle right, that's one of our lenders. He's the top lender in the state, I believe, right now. And he came here and wanted to share some new programs that would give our clients some advantages in multiple offer situations. Just an awesome place to be. And we have a lot of fun too. So every year, our top producers go on a trip, either Mexico. Last year, went to Punta Cana, all expenses paid by the team. Jason, oh, that's awesome that you read exactly. I was looking at the comments. Jason Van Warmer said exactly what to say was a good read. It's a very good read. What's so interesting, like I recently, I'm going to stop the share, go off script here. There's an agent in our area that is really talking down about sales, right? But all sales is listening. It really is. Listening to what's important to the client, what their pain is, and seeing, is there some way I can alleviate their pain? That's what sales is. And that book, Exactly What to Say, it's all about listening to what they're telling you is important to them, what's going to improve their lives. And it gives you the ability to say, because you said this, this might be the solution, right? Very good. All right, go back to sharing. All right, so some of our fun events there. Oh, this is another thing. So when you're on a team, the success of the team is your success. That's key. Like when you're a brand new agent, you don't have past closings to really draw off of. When a client asks you, or someone you're meeting with says, well, how many homes have you sold? When you're in a team, you're drawing from the success of the team. In our case, like you said, yep, we were voted best of Madison. We sold more than 300 homes last year. We help a lot of people move. More people trust us than any other team, that sort of thing. It's super helpful. So really, at the end of the day, you got to ask, is this really the right career for you as an individual agent or a team agent? Of course, more people are going to say, yeah, I want that leverage. I still want to have some flexibility in my life and be on a team. But regardless, even if you're on a team, maybe it's not right for you. We do have an assessment on our website that you can take. Tony, maybe you can. Oh, here it is. So, if you think that this might still be a fit for you after we've kind of talked about all the horrible things that go along with being a real estate agent, um, we do have an assessment on our website. So if you go to dangenhomes/careers, you hit apply. Uh, Part of that, it's not only like uploading your resume and whatnot, but there's a personality assessment that shows where you would fit into the team structure based on what naturally comes to you, what brings you energy, and what also depletes your energy. And Tony just put a link in the chat as well for you. If you'd like to have a confidential conversation about what it's like, or come shadow our team. We are always welcome to having people in at team meetings or shadowing us on appointments. We really want to make sure that you know what you're getting into when you go into real estate so that you don't get in and say, oh, wait, this isn't like selling Sunset or HGTV. So now I want to we are over in time, but I'm happy to stay here as long as people have questions. Open it up to questions that people might have specifically, and you can unmute yourself as well if you'd like. And I'm trying to make sure I'm not sharing right now. I'm not sharing, right?
You're not, no.
Okay, thank you. I'm a disaster right now.
You're
Uh,
doing great.
Certainly different than Love It or List It. Yeah, absolutely, Bradford. Definitely different. What questions do we have here? So I want to see, I'm going to call on some people here. Nikki, uh, was there something you learned tonight that was different than what you thought being a real estate agent was like? Nikki Kaya, if you're on. I'm going to ask to unmute you. Or Owen Thorne. I keep going. Samuel Mickelson. Sam, oh, I helped Sam's parents move.
Hi. Um, I learned that it's important to make sure that your mental health is um, it's very important to the realtors and a big aspect to make people like want to stay in the business.
Absolutely. It's a stressful job, even when you have the leverage of a team, right? So having that morning routine down,
Yeah.
super important. Like every morning I get up, I work out, I do my cold plunge, meditation, all this way before people are getting to the office. That way I'm prepped, I'm primed, I'm ready to go. I'm positive, I'm excited to call people, even if they're just warm leads and not my friends that want to buy homes, right?
Yeah.
Um, Okay, we got a question here. What are the top 3 personal characteristics of a new agent that leads to failure in the beginning? That's a great question. Um, Lack of discipline, I would say, is number 1. So it's not necessarily about the drive or the willingness to do hard things, but that discipline is key. And that's something that a lot of people struggle with. And fortunately, like when you're on a team, there's someone that can help. There's people that help you stay in check with what you commit to doing. But people were talking about time blocking. That's literally like saying like from this time until this time, here's what I'm doing, and then following that on your calendar. That's discipline. Uh, Maybe you have a long night for whatever reason, and you wake up in the morning, you're like, I'm just gonna sleep in. While you're sleeping in, you're not building your business, right? So you got to be very disciplined with all of that. So I would say I don't know if I have a top 3, but discipline is definitely number 1. Eric or Alex, can you think of any other characteristics that would cause a new agent to fail in the beginning? Personal characteristics.
I don't know if it's well, yeah, I mean, I think the common thing that you get when people want to get into real estate is that they want to make a lot of money and they want a flexible schedule, right? And what I see from people who don't necessarily make it, or maybe they don't succeed, is that they get into it with the mindset of, oh, this isn't going to take hard work. It does take hard work. And that's whether you're a solo agent, whether you're on a team, it takes hard work to get your business up and running. And so what I see is, and you could loop that in with discipline as well. But just walking in with the understanding and being told, hey, this is going to be hard work, and embracing it. I always tell people, and it's a phrase that gets thrown around a lot, but I tell people you have to embrace the suck. You have to embrace the stuff that maybe you don't want to do, right? Maybe you don't want to be calling people all the time. Maybe you don't want to be on the phones or whatever. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you want to be a success, you have to do those things that you don't want to do. Nothing comes easy, whether it's real estate or anything else. So I would just say, yeah, that aspect of it, where people maybe they don't think it takes hard work, and then they're sort of like put off by that, and they just bail.
Yeah, be able to do hard things. That's why I do the cold plunge. Every time I get in there, when it's sub 40 degrees, it's like, man, this is not great, right? But it's like I can do hard things. And my 10-year-old daughter is doing it. She just won an award for growth mindset. And I think a lot of that comes from this. It's like you can do hard things, but there's a lot of reward from that. Like how many people on this webinar are making more than $300,000 a year? I know one. He's on right now. So
Yeah, there's that famous Mike Tyson quote, being disciplined is doing what you don't like to do, but doing it like you love it. And say what you will about Mike Tyson, but there's a lot of truth in that. I mean, do most people like to burn up the phone lines and call people? No. But the people who are successful are the people who still do it, and do it with a smile on their face, because when you're talking with somebody on the phone, they can hear your smile and they can hear your frown, and it's better to be smiling when you're talking to people than the other way. So yeah.
absolutely. Nikki actually said her mic wasn't working, but some of her biggest takeaways were around the best practices. Um, Man, best practices are so good. No matter what industry you're in right now, figure out what the best practices are, because it's like a cheat code, right? I'm gonna date myself, but there was a game called Contra on Super NES, right? And yeah, up, up, down, down. I heard someone just saying it. It gave you like unlimited lives. Best practices are like that, right? So if you knew that if you got a pre-listing packet to a seller a day or two before you met with them, they were 90% more likely to hire you over someone else when you do it, right? So that's like an example of best practice. So we're always looking at the best practices. We're always teaching them and sharing new best practices as well. And sometimes some of our agents make a little tweak that get extraordinary results, and then we teach everyone else those. So it's pretty cool. Konami code, yes, Jason. Okay, you just dated yourself. Very
Looks
good.
like Samuel has his hand raised too.
Okay, Samuel. Oh yeah, there it is. All right, Samuel, you have a question? Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah. I was wondering, and you might have went over this a little bit earlier, but where do you specifically get started? Because um, like I'm back from I did a first semester at college, and I was like starting to look into like getting a real estate license for Wisconsin, but I'm also like 19 years old right now and just don't really know where like to fully get started into like being
Oh
a
man,
realtor.
I wish I had gotten into this at 19 years old. My life would be a lot different right now. I stumbled into it much later in life. Um, if you get into real estate right now, man, your future is gonna be set for you. Where you get started. So a lot of people think, well, I'll just go get my license, but that's not going to teach you anything about the role. It's not going to teach you what it's truly like to be an agent. And even like this presentation, I think until you see it firsthand, you don't fully get it. So what I would always recommend to people is to shadow and reach out to like a local real estate agent team like us, or an individual agent that you know that's in the business, and see if you can shadow them and see what it's like and see if it's a good fit for you. The assessment, we posted the link in the chat, that assessment is going to tell you whether or not you're going to find energy in this role or it's going to be miserable for you. A lot of it is about personality and what you thrive on. So those would be the two things I would say to do before you even pursue your license. Because a lot of people go and get their license and they find out, oh, wait, this is not for me. It's not like HGTV. If you shadow, you talk to people you know in the role, you find out it is for you, and you want to get your license, we do have a link where you can get, or not a link, we can actually get you a discount. We call and get you a discount. I think it's like half off on the Wisconsin Realtors Association coursework for getting your real estate license. So definitely reach out if you'd like to save some money. That's for sure. But back to your question, where to get started? Shadow, talk to people you know in the role, find out what it's really like.
Awesome. Thank you.
Nikki said she contacted Meg Chin. That's my co-team lead and wife. She's pretty amazing. And okay, so you got hooked up with the WRA course and the discount there. That's great. That's really awesome. Yep, that would be a good first step for sure. It really stinks to see people waste so much time getting their license, doing the coursework, and then getting into the role and saying, oh my gosh, this is not what I thought it was like. So definitely make sure you talk to people. I talked to a ton of people before I pursued it. And I'm so glad I did. Even the brokerages, all the brokerages are completely different. What a lot of people don't realize is the brokerage actually, and we're not a brokerage, we're a team under a brokerage. The brokerage is the legal entity that you're operating under. So like think nationally, Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, those sort of things. Locally, First Weber, Stark. We're part of Real Brokerage. They're a national brokerage. They take a percentage of the commission. They're also tasked with making sure you're staying compliant and providing you with education and resources. Some of them take more than half your commission right off the bat and don't provide any more than another broker. In fact, many of them provide less. So do your research on that. If you want to reach out to me, I'm happy to run you through some different numbers and what you can expect from the different brokerages as well as your production. Great question, though. Any other questions we have here before we wrap it up? All right, awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. We really appreciate you sticking around and learning. This is really a high-level overview. I know we didn't paint like a beautiful picture here, but that's kind of the goal, right? We want to make sure that this is right for you. If you have more specific questions, feel free to reach out. We're happy to have a confidential discussion with you about what's important to you and see if it's a good fit.
Jason asked, why is Apollo so damn handsome?
He is very handsome, yeah. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, part of it, yeah, that guy, his personality is something else. He doesn't age. He just turned 51. Awesome guy. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't have kids. That's awesome. Very cool. Well, thank you again, everybody. We hope you have a good night. Feel free to reach out. My email is dan@danchinhomes.com. I'm going to put my phone number in the chat here. If you want to call and have a confidential discussion about your situation and whether or not it's a good fit for you. Thanks. Have a great night.